All right, it's good to have you. It's still Good Morning Anambra show, and we're delighted to welcome you back to the studios of Good Morning Anambra show. Now it's time for us to look at expectations of Nigerians in moments of national mourning. This is as a result of what recently happened in Nigeria, a lot of killings here and there, and the president took it upon himself to visit the Benue State to mourn with the people that lost their loved ones. And of course, he was equally at the hospitals to see those that sustained injuries. But a lot of things, a lot of comments coming from Nigerians on how the visit went about. And in the studio this morning, we've been joined by Professor Ernest Igwe, who is a public affairs analyst. He's also a food processing and animal product technologist. And of course, he's a Nigerian and is aware of everything going on in our nation. Prof, it's good to have you.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you, viewers. Thanks.
It's also, interesting to know that a day has been set aside for events like this because there are casualties every day in the world. People, for no reason, like the one we are having right now in Iran and Israel, wars everywhere. On one hand, Israel is battling the Palestinians, and the other hand, they are battling Iran. And then somebody will now tell me that, is this actually not God's own country? Well, I don't know. But let's begin with what we have for you this morning, talking about expectations in terms of mourning. Definitely, mourning will definitely come. As humans, we were born one day and certainly will die, but not the gruesome way people take lives unjustly. And that's what we want to talk about. How do we navigate this as a nation?
All right, ideally, Prof, could you let us know what mourning or how mourning should go about, ideally?
Thanks a lot. Ideally, we Africans, and Africans have a way of mourning, grief, sorrow. As Christians also, the book of Ecclesiastes says there's a time to be born and a time to die. And after that, different cultures have different ways. There are Islamically, Christian ways, Hindu, so 1001. And back here in Nigeria, well, when someone loses a loved one, depends on the way you've lost, just as you've narrated. Is it by killing? Is it a natural death? How old is the person? So mourning takes different dimensions depending on how the death do come. But for sure, death is a necessary end. And that's why it grieves me, and I think that in Nigeria we ought to include death education in our school curriculum called thanatology, so that people will be able to understand the circumstances of death and how it comes, and how it should happen, so that we'll be able to contain it in the way it should. Thank you.
Okay. Now, seeing actually what recently happened in our nation, Nigeria, and the visit of President Tinubu to Benue State to mourn with the people of Benue State over the huge loss they encountered recently. You know, a lot of Nigerians are not really happy the way the whole thing happened, starting with the school children that were asked to stay under the rain to welcome the president, and of course the banquet that took place after the visit. So what do you have to say concerning that situation? And of course, the mourning state of that state, Benue State, is that what it should be in an ideal manner?
Well, none of us here were there physically present.
But we saw, we
they were based on the news reports,
yes, on
that we've seen. Well, it's far from ideal. It's far from ideal. However, the important thing is that the president visited. In African culture, once again, when somebody loses a loved one, the first thing is to rush there. You are going there to sympathize, does not mean that that person will come back to life. But In Igbo language, ndo, sorry, eases the pain on, and when you empathize and sympathize on people, it helps. Back to what you have, the direct question, is it what it should be? I don't think so in modern day Nigeria. I recall in the 70s, I remember when Gowon was visiting the East, when President Haile Selassie was visiting, and we all stay on the streets to welcome. But this, the mistake, I think, if at all, is, let me use the word, the issue in this case is the governor was combining mourning and celebration at the same time. It ought not to be so. It should have been separated. And we know how sacred we value life. Much so when he's a priest, a Catholic priest. Fair hearing is the principle of natural justice. After all, God saw Adam eating apple, Eve eating apple, and still decided to ask Adam, what are you eating? Eve, what? You understand? So probably the governor, I have not read where he has come to defend what he did. Even a madman has a reason for what he's doing based on his understanding. So left to me, it's not a proper thing to do. The two should have been separated. Okay. I think that is the situation.
All right.
Benue has always been in the light. Benue, as we all know, is known for the food basket of the nation because of its arable landmass, and then the energetic nature of the youth of that place, believing that farming is one way to life. Now, over the years, we've been having this issue of herders, clash, and the rest of it all. But nobody, the last governor, Oton, complained several times to the then administration of Buhari that their people were being systematically cleansed, and now we are seeing it happen again. Could it be as a result of government not playing the fatherly role in protecting lives and property, since the nomenclature of Nigeria makes the president to be the chief, the C&C, the chief commander of the armed forces, and then the need for this police, local policing that we are seeking about? What do you think that we can do in order to reduce this to the barest minimum so that it doesn't, move around other places?
Thank you. Let me start with the food security aspect. Yeah. The 1962 National Development Plan projected Middle East to feed the rest of Africa. Your guess is as good as mine what we have today. And regarding the deficits, character deficit, functional deficits of the government is obvious. And the problem is in the political equation of Nigeria. The variables are too numerous to count. If you listen to the address of Totif, when the president came, he was saying this is genocide. What pains me, and it's a recurring decimal in Nigeria, is there's always the ethnic dimension. Well, you can't rule out ethnicity. It's there, but it should be minimized. It should be minimized. I was reading somewhere where somebody was saying he told the National Security Advisor, he called so that this could be stopped. Somebody said this, somebody said this, somebody said that. The truth remains and will always remain that in Nigeria we are not proactive. We are always reactive to situations. And the deficits of the government and the functionals there, it's everywhere, including overseas. I remember during the Chechnya War, General Alexander stopped. The general was complaining that when he had cornered the Chechnyans, and he would be asked to stop because, and he doesn't know why. Order from above. So in Nigeria, we don't know whether there's the hand of, what do you say, the voice of his son and the hand of Jacob. But the truth remains that the president, the CNC, has a lot of information available to him that nobody has. But the problem is his ability to filter and his lieutenant to filter it properly. And he has a lot of issues.
What of the political will to do the right thing too?
The political will has levels, gradations, and timing. Sorry to deviate.
No problem.
Let's look at the fuel subsidy. Everybody wanted fuel subsidy removed. But the method and manner it was removed caused the hike. Even the president agreed that his advisors and lieutenants in the May 29 address didn't write anything on it. And by himself, he pronounced it. Look at the French Revolution, where the scarcity of bread. You know the French and their dry loaves. So when you see all these things, so timing, the political will could be there, but if it's wrongly timed, okay, look at the invasion of Iran. You see the strategy there. Give us 2 weeks to take them by surprise in 2 days. Look at Iran's retaliation, which somebody described yesterday as punching the air. You informed Qatar government you're going to strike, and all these things. And what's the essence is to make sure that let their own people not think that they're weaklings.
All right. In case you're just joining us, you're watching Good Morning Anambra show, and we are trying to see the expectations of Nigerians in moments of national mourning, owing to the current situation we're being faced in Nigeria over killings and maimings of innocent citizens of this country. At this point, we're going to take a very short break. Let's feel the pulse of the masses on the issue at hand. When we return, we'll begin to talk about what are the expectations really for Nigerians.
We have been seeing cases like that in Nigeria, and mostly based on the lack of security, and we have security in Nigeria, yes, but they don't respond on time. Our government and our politicians, they should do more, they should do better, because we know, all of us know that some of them are the forces behind all those killing and all those stuff. So I think for a better Nigeria, we need more security and then more cooperation from our leaders for a better tomorrow. So it was quite pathetic. Things happening in Benue State. I saw a video did by VDM, Very Dark Man. That was quite pathetic. Like, it was so bad. So we just beckon on the government to do better. We know they can do better, and this country is blessed. So we just hope for a peaceful and more loving and better Nigeria.
The Fulanis were the people that people have been naming on that. They should provide a place for them. Cattle ranching is not what started today. It has been a long time scenario. We have been experiencing, if they don't provide a place for them, they will roam about, spoil people's farm, and deal a lot of damages to the society. Since they have the right to take over people's lands and they convert them to other purposes, if they can this time dialogue with those abandoned series of plots along the road or inside the itinerants, they can make proper use of them. So far, there must be taxes collected from those Fulanis, because the people that owns those lands cannot release them without stipends. So they must have to do something to it to reduce the incessant killings in Nigeria.
Personally, I think the remedy that the federal government can do is to, empower our security agency. They should empower them with weapons and everybody should be vigilant, because security is everybody's business.
What is happening in our country now? What our government to respond to? Our government needs to have. We need to have like a security. All those full enhancement, that the way they are killing people is not good. The responsibility of our government needs to take care of all of our people, like all the forces, army, take care of them. You need to give them a lot of things, support them, so that we can make what the country is facing nowadays to make it possible. But my major point is that our government needs to play their role. They need to play their role. When they play their roles and they support all our officers, or like policemen, army, all those officers, they need to support them. When they support them,
if you've lost a loved one through, whichever means, you understand what it means. How much more losing, more like family members, communities being deserted, people leaving their ancestral homes and seeking refuge elsewhere. It's really calls for a sad moment for national mourning. But then, just like we heard one of our street parliamentarians talking about, everything still boils down to government being proactive. What can we do in order to nip this at its bud? In the paper review that we did sometime last week, we had the governor even telling the people of Benue State not to take up arms for self-defense and the rest of it all. And people were wondering, why would the governor come up to say that when the youth are saying, okay, they want to get arms? Even David Mark came as far as saying that if nothing is done, that the citizens will have to defend themselves. And the governor said, no, that they shouldn't. Government is going to, take care of this. Now, Prof. Ernest, what do you see? That's a priest talking about people not taking arms to defend themselves, or even, being proactive to defend themselves. Don't you see something a little bit odd about that statement from the governor?
It depends on how you're looking at it. As a priest of the Catholic faith,
yeah,
Christ said, I leave you with peace, which the world cannot give.
Okay.
So he's having a dual role. But as a governor,
I don't know whether, sorry, before you continue, I don't know whether you watched a clip from Enenche. Enenche is actually from Benue State. There's a clip he made talking about self-defense.
He's from Ottawa.
So, yes, so talking about self-defense. So I don't, you can marry the two and, go ahead to continue your contribution.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
On one hand, as economist, you will do this. On another hand, you will do this. The priest could say that. The priest governor could say, don't carry on. It's expected, even if he's not a priest. Somebody in government will not tell you, defend yourself, because that will be non-state actors. Okay. He will want it to be a state actor, handling the affairs himself.
When actually he's not handling it?
When he knows that he has deficiencies, he cannot say it openly. So this is diplomacy.
Okay.
He's saying the nastiest thing in the nicest way. So that is all I think he's doing. Not that he's comfortable with what happened. All he's trying to tell you that underground efforts are happening. But how good is that underground effort?
In protecting the lives.
In protecting the lives. I think, let's be honest to ourselves, the government is too slow. It's like the state issue of state police.
So when you say that the government is too slow, it now makes it seem like a deliberate plot to actually, will I say, inflict genocide on certain race. When you say the government is too slow, these things has happened over time in short period. The news that the newspaper captured it the other day. 1,500 lives have been lost in Benue in 6 months. Yes. That's from January to June. And we've not even seen the end of June.
Yes.
15,000 displaced.
Yes.
So how slow can the government be than this that we already see?
Like it or hate it, the truth remains that, in fact, there was the convocation lecture we had at University of Nigeria. in the late 80s. The man, that professor is either from, I think US or, I don't know. The answer to that question, what he said was that there is success in failure. Somebody assembled battery through 99 ways and failed. In his research reports, what did he write? I have succeeded in finding 99 ways in which a battery cannot be assembled. So that whoever is coming should try. My worry is that the government does not make reference. If you have tried something severally and it's failing, you got to try another method. And there has to be rapid response in whatever you're doing. I think that is the crux of the issue.
All right, Prof. I think you are a Nigerian.
Yes.
You live in Nigeria. We are all Nigerians.
Yes.
And this is not the first time something like this is happening. Even in Benue, it has happened over time.
Yes.
And we had the issue of Owo, killing in the church. We even have, after the Benue, there is even people going for a marriage that were killed in Plateau State,
Yes.
and so many others. Even the one that someone used the trailer to run over people that were, going on the road and stuff like that. So many. And Nigeria as a nation, we are supposed to be in the mood of mourning when something like that happens. But Nigerians over the years have complained that the way and manner government goes about the mourning of her citizens is not what it should be. Now, as a Nigerian, I want you to answer this question. What do you think should be the best way of mourning when things like this happen?
The way you are posing the question, in my considered opinion, mourning is good, but mourning is post-mortem. Something has finished happening. What is most important in my own considered opinion is what do we do to prevent one from happening? Yeah. You go
because Nigerians are complaining and they have expectations. Just like you, when you go to maybe your village to see somebody that lost somebody, there is something you do. There is something we call it there is something we call dropping something for the bereaved and all whatnot. Yeah. These are the things. You said it earlier that it's not going to bring back the person that died, but somehow to like people may some of their expectations. Let me say it, that they want to see the president, to come close, let them feel a sense of belonging, kind of. So that's the area I'm trying to
I think we have dealt with it. The point is that when something happens, there should be a rapid response. That's why immediately somebody dies in the family, people rush. And they stay with you and sleep with you that day. Your inner relations keep on staying, making you to laugh. Yeah. That is one. On the material aspect, government have made provisions to relief agencies. But the question is, do they deliver what they have been given?
Does it really get to the people affected directly?
Do you see, along the chain, from the place the money is being released, something is cut off. Something is cut off. Something is cut off. So the end recipient may not get up to 10% of what is budgeted. I'm thinking, I'm hypothesizing. Corruption has eaten so deep into our bone marrows that if the government, I don't know, at times you stop blaming the government. At all levels of the country, everybody, I think the only corrupt, let's define corruption in the first instance. Operationalized corruption. The only honest Nigerian these days is somebody who has not been given an opportunity. Because that is the most honest Nigerian. Because people stay there and pontificate and claim, give us the chance. And there are people that are prepared to do it. Somebody will tell you Traore. I said there are people that are 10 million times better than Traore in Nigeria. But have they been given the opportunity and the right platform?
But Traore wasn't given the opportunity, he seized the opportunity. So,
but through illegal means.
Yeah.
He was only lucky he would have been executed by firing squad.
Of course.
So
the issue of somebody giving you a chance doesn't actually apply. In this, before you become a leader in Nigeria, you have to be under a party, pass primary, then you contest and win.
God bless.
So nobody comes from nowhere and then they just give it to you.
What I'm saying is, by the time the people in the field there is trying to stop call it genocide, call it attack, call it whatever, a superior officer will say stop. And that security officer may be saying stop because it's from my ethnic group, because it's my friend that is involved, because it is this. We have had cases in the past. There were this coup under Babangida. They had to stop executing somebody, and eventually they were over. There was still this coup under Babangida. Some sergeants were even killed.
Yeah.
So tell me, the truth is that we need a total restructuring.
Exactly. That's
of
the right
our
word.
security architecture, of mindset, and fundamentally, academics, our educational
System.
structure, and even the faith-based organizations are also not doing well to help. So, in my own considered opinion, Nigeria could be. I normally describe Nigeria as like my late friend. I talked to him. What was the name? This man that was in charge of Hope 93 from Adamawa State. Timaus Matthias.
Okay.
And then he asked me to define Nigeria one day in Yola Club. I told him, now to me, Nigeria is like a sinking ship. A ship sinking in perpetuity. It has refused to finally sink. It has refused to come out. So we're in perpetuity. And I can liken Nigeria to Romans 3:23, which says, all have sinned and fallen short of the righteousness of God. But there must be a leader. And the leader has to do the right thing at all levels. They come to Anambra, you can see the way he is trying, other states are trying. But what they should work more is on their deficits than on where they are doing better.
More like saying we should have stronger institutions rather than having stronger individuals.
One aspect. Then, praise singers, psycho fans, hero worshippers, tribal kissing fans should be minimized. They cannot be eliminated. They should be minimized. And until then, we will be moving in cyclically.
Oh, all right. You said something earlier, that is not the issue of mourning, but trying to do something to forestall future occurrences of killings here and there, maiming innocent citizens. Now, and security, there's been this call for state policing, and of course you said something about restructuring here, which I believe the state police, is amongst what should be included in restructuring of the system. Now, what do you think is the best way to go about this whole thing of seeing whether we can stop the killings, the header farmer clashes here and there? So what do you think, in your own thought, should be the best way to go about it?
The solutions are there and are even documented. The problem is the willpower to
implement it.
There was state police before.
Before,
and it has to be killed. People were complaining. It was being used somehow. There's now federal police. Everything is concentrated. There's need to devolve this thing. Now, how do we handle some of these things? Let us space out the truth. Everything that's happened in Nigeria are all preventable. Look at all the strikes. Let me talk as an academic, as a unionist. All the strikes we have done in Nigeria were avoidable. All the killings, like this Benue killing, was known by the agency, according to the reports.
Of course.
So, until our leadership gets up. And the mafia, there's mafia at every level. Until the mafia starts thinking very well.
Start being nationalistic.
Yes, patriotic.
Yeah.
More patriotic. What we have now is micro-nationalism and not macro-nationalism.
Thank you so much.
All right, we can actually go on and on, but this is where time could allow us go for the program, looking at the way we mourn in Nigeria as a nation and what it should be. And Prof has really done justice to that here. And there's his last words: until our leaders tell ourselves the truth of what actually is going on and what we need to do, Nigeria will keep, not sinking, not rising.
Moving cyclical.
All right. And we'd like to thank you so much, Professor Ernest Igwe. Thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate you coming. And that's it on our discussion segment. Next is Catch the Bus. Please do stay tuned.